It's been 9 months since the release of the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and it's about time I give you the long-term review you've been waiting for. Now, iOS 16 has received mixed reviews, but we are currently on the brink of iOS 17, which can redeem the iOS experience. But is the 14 Pro Max still worth the investment? Does it live up to the hype, or should you be looking forward to something else? I mean, the 13 Pro Max set the bar, so did the 14 Pro Max fall short, meet, or exceed that bar? Now, first off, let's talk design. The iPhone 14 Pro Max boasts a sleek matte finish, a stainless steel frame, and a ceramic shield front cover. It's undoubtedly a masterpiece to look at and has a premium feel to it. As usual, it's still one of the best looking smartphones on the market, and that goes without argument. It's also very durable, and you can see from the wear and tear on my device, I haven't babied this at all, and neither have I mistreated it. As a matter of fact, I haven't even used the case since day one. So while my display has multiple hairline scratches which are only visible when the display is off, nothing about this device makes it feel any much older than the day I first received it. And yes, I have dropped it. Now, I'm not advocating for abuse to any iPhone, I'm just sharing my experience, and it doesn't mean you'll have the same. That's my disclaimer. Let's talk performance. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is powered by the A16 Bionic, which is the fastest chip in a smartphone. Apple does this year after year, and the streak continues. It doesn't matter if you're gaming, doing productivity, running a business, photo, video editing, or just scrolling social media, the iPhone performs. And that's the true benefit of a fully optimized system. Love it or hate it, it is what it is. Now, on the software side, iOS 16 has ran smoothly for some and rocky for others. I'll admit, I've had a few bumps in the road, but nowhere near the experience I've seen others claim to have. And yes, iOS 16 has been plagued with bugs. We've seen Apple being proactive as usual with consistent OS updates to help rectify these errors. It is technology and nothing is perfect, but Apple does have a record for being the smoothest OS, so any instance opposite of that is going to cause an uproar, and rightfully so. And as I said personally, I haven't experienced the issues others have had, but I won't invalidate their claims. All in all, iOS is still my go-to smartphone OS without shame. Face ID is still one of the most secure and convenient ways of unlocking your phone. The speakers on the iPhone are still industry leading, and their displays are some of the most accurate on the market. And these are all products of the A16 Bionic chip in combination with iOS. And need I mention, the dynamic island has proved itself useful. I interact with it on a consistent basis as it's intended. It was a great addition to the iOS and a great way to distract from the camera cutout. Another genius and well thought out move by Apple engineers. Now, another byproduct of a well-optimized system is battery life. And for the past few years, the 13 Pro Max model and 14 Pro Max model have been the kings of battery. The S23 Ultra is here to compete in battery life, and you can't ignore that. But when it comes to the 14 Pro Max's battery life, it's nothing short of fulfilling. I've never been more careless and relaxed about charging my smartphone ever. The 13 and 14 Pro Max models have been my favorite battery life on any smartphone to date. So if you're a heavy user and need battery life, you go 14 Pro Max. The 14 Pro is not the same, and I made a video about this very thing. So before we wrap this long-term review up with an overall user experience, we have to talk cameras. The iPhone 14 Pro Max cameras are not perfect, but they are the most balanced of any smartphone cameras available, and that means photo and video. There's a reason most content creators choose Apple for their social media device, the camera. Not only does it produce fairly balanced results, but you can rest assured that those photo and video uploads will maintain the same quality when uploaded from an iPhone. And it's simply because apps are programmed and optimized for the iPhone iOS platform first. As I said before, the iPhone cameras aren't perfect. Besides the heavy AI processing, there's also no true pro camera mode that allows you to take full control of all camera parameters. You have to pay for third-party apps in order to get this, but it would be way more convenient if it was native, because Samsung has given it to their users, and I think Apple should do the same. At the end of the day, you just can't expect a tiny smartphone sensor to give you the results of a much larger camera sensor, but you can be impressed with the results given to us by the iPhone 14 Pro Max cameras. Okay, let's get right to it. is the iPhone 14 Pro Max worth the investment? In my opinion, yes, even if you're just now buying one. But I'd be a bit deceptive if I didn't express to possibly wait, if you can, in order to see what the iPhone 15 Pro Max will bring. But again, you can't always wait for the next, because no matter what model you grab, the future will always improve technology-wise, so you will never ever really have the latest. So get whatever satisfies your needs at that moment. Another question, does the 14 Pro Max live up to the hype? In my opinion, yes. And here's why. The iPhone market share is rapidly growing even overseas, where they cost even more than they do in the States. And that's no coincidence. There's a reason. People like iPhones, people like iOS, and people like Apple. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. They make great products and offer a damn good user experience. I've been using Apple products for over a decade, and they've been fairly consistent. There's been rough moments for sure, but overall it's been consistently good. And that's no difference with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, no smartphone is really warranting a year-over-year upgrade, but if you're coming from an older iPhone model and are ready and due for an upgrade, then look no further. So, whether or not you choose to subject yourself to the so-called walled garden, we all must admit that there is some true magic happening behind those invisible walls.